I'm also really interested in college exams around the world, so let's start with South Korea.
So the Korean SAT is called Suneung, and it takes place every year, and in the third week of November. This year it is going to be on November 18th. Since this is the final test the students are going to take after 12 years of long journey, students tend to try to perform their ultimate best in this exam. And near the day of Suneung, the South Korea society in general have their focus on this exam. Before taking Suneung, students in other grades and parents give Korean candy that is similar to nougat, which is sticky candy, in hope to make students stick to the right answers and university like the sticky candy. And also, they have to avoid eating one of the Korean traditional food, which is called seaweed soup, since it's really slippery and might make the students slip away from the answer in university. Um, it's really also interesting because the students need to take ID card to take the test, but sometimes when the students forget to take it from home, the police car involves in the situation and they take the students to their house to bring the ID card.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember my brother who took the sunung a few years ago. He received like a lot of sticky candy from his teachers and friends. And there are a lot of interesting cultures related to how Koreans deal with this exam. For example, the first subject in the sunung exam is the English listening test. So not only the speakers in the exam room should be working well, but also there should be absolute no noise coming from outside the exam rooms, right? So during the time of the listening test, airplanes don't land in the airports because of the potential noise it could make. If airplanes like create a noise during that exam, then there would be some students taking the test near an airport, right? So they would eventually get disadvantaged. So approximately for an hour or so of the entire listening test, the airplanes just stay in the air without actually landing at the airport. Also, there are a lot of financial benefits for the students who take the sunung with an aim to like comfort them and say, good job, you did your best, it's time for you to rest. For instance, you can get like a 50% discount in particular hair salons, movie theaters, or restaurants. And especially students want to change their phone to the latest and newest one after taking sunung, so they would also receive discounts when purchasing a new phone.
In Poland, the final exam is called matura, and it's taken only if you go to either the technicum or the normal high school. And it's only required that you take Polish, English, and math. Those are the compulsory, and you take them at standard level. But then you can write from as many other subjects as you want, but they all have to be higher level. And then most of them are only written, but then you also have spoken for the languages, spoken exams. As for the difficulty, people say they're not that difficult. They are hard, but it's possible to get a good grade. But the hard thing in school is mostly grading in high school. That's what the difficult part of school is, because it's a grading system from 1 to 6, and getting a 6 is impossible in a test. You can get max a 5. So to get a 6, like to get the best grade, you have to do things outside of tests. So you have to be like perfect in every aspect of the class. And also
Wait, so if you get a 6 in that exam, you're like considered to be a genius or something?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But also in normal tests, if you get 3 or more grammatical errors, you automatically get like a 2, and that's failing. So yeah, they're very like specific about spelling in Poland. That's weird.
Wait, about like getting 5 and not able to get 6 unless you do something outside of school?
Outside of the tests.
So like I have to do well in PE and like that?
Or like, is it like more that you need to learn more than the subject they're teaching?
No,
Yeah.
you have to be good, like participate. You have to always answer correctly. You have to be like the top students.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, but like an interesting thing about the classes is that there's a lot of like like not equality between the students, so a teacher can choose their least favorite student and then purposefully make them fail, and no one can stop that.
That's
Really?
so bad.
Yeah,
Like even the law doesn't like prohibit them.
because like what? No.
Just have a good relation with the teacher.
Yeah, right. So my friend recently, she had a test and she did perfect, and the teacher just decided not to put her grade in because he has like a problem with her, I guess.
It's
Oh
so
my
And
God.
that happens so often.
Ooh.
But yeah, and well, the graduation rates are about 85 usually, but last year they were 74 because of the COVID and everything.
Mm. In India, school diplomas are awarded in 10th and 12th grades, and these are called the boards, and these are the main exams most student takes. And it's set by school boards like NCERT, CBSE, and ICSE, and they also set the curriculum. I was in a CBSE school up till grade 1, and then I joined an ICSE school up till grade 8. And I think CBSE and ICSE ones are really common. Most of my friends that I talked to went to either of these. There's a very tiny difference between them, that CBSE follows the portion and the exact timetable that the board sets, but ICSE kind of shifts everything 6 months before. So if you're in 10th grade, you would have 6 months of revision time entirely. So you can give prelims and stuff like that. Prelims are mock boards that you can give 3 times.
And why is that? Why is one school behind?
So it's not exactly behind, it just crams all the subject matter for like from grade 8 and 9 and 10 into like a 2.5 year course instead of 3. So you have 6 months just to prepare for the boards. Because these are really important, and if you do well in these, you potentially can do very well afterwards. And if you do badly, then so there's kind of this like system where the science, if you do really, really well, you're probably gonna go into like sciences and get into really good colleges like the IIT, and then you can do commerce, and then people just have this mindset of considering like the arts supposed to be, if you take arts only if you don't do well. And so people joke about people who don't do bad, who do really badly on these tests, to actually be able to pursue their dreams. Yeah. Yeah.
In China, senior middle school graduates wishing to go to university must take the National Higher Education Entrance Exam, and it's also called Gaokao. According to the Chinese Ministry of Education, in June 2015, 9.42 million students took the exam.
Wow.
So many people, and that obviously contributes to the extreme competition. So due to the fierce competitiveness to get into good universities, the pressure to do well for Gaokao is intense, and many schools hold extra morning classes in science and math for 3 to 4 hours on Saturdays. And if schools do not have Saturday morning classes, most parents would send their children to expensive cramming schools on weekends or organize one-to-one private tuition for their children over the weekend.
Wait, so I have a question. So you said about 9.42 million students take the Gaokao exam. So does that mean the universities itself accept like a larger amount of students every year, or like is there like simply just a lot of universities?
There are a lot of universities, and they do have limits to how many people are accepted, especially depending on how prestigious the school is. But there are a lot of people who actually just don't get in. Like, they don't get into the cut.
Yeah.
They're just not, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar situation in India. Like with the number of people there are, I think only like 2% of the people applying to a college can get in. Some of them are
strict.
very, very
2%?
strict. Yeah.
So then what do the rest of the people do? Do they just start their profession?
Well, 2% for like
Farmers.
good.
Funny.
Well, they go to like less prestigious colleges. And
Some are like not even called colleges. It's just like higher education, but not actual college. And there's like colleges for just agriculture. Like if you want to do agriculture, they will teach you how to farm.
Wait, but don't they get paid a lot? Like for
No.
Oh,
No.
really?
In villages.
Oh really? Okay.
But there's a lot of social pressure to like get into
Yeah,
a good
definitely.
college. And
Definitely.
yeah, with like your neighbors are the first ones to like, comment on what college you're going to and gossip about it.
In Poland, you have like 1 or 2 universities in a city, and then everyone gets into them, and that's all.
Wow.
It's just
So
simple.
different.
Yeah, so simple.
So like I'm actually curious on some new cultures made when it comes to studying. What do you think, South Korea, Yedom?
So recently I'm seeing a lot of YouTube channels that show vlogs of a day in the life of a Korean student or motivational videos that motivate students
Yeah.
to study. So there's a lot of YouTube channels teaching tips for studying and motivational videos for students, and when you look at the motivational videos, literally all of them mention that the study shouldn't be fun, and if the student wants to go to university, they'll have to study until they feel like they can't take it anymore and they feel like they're gonna die. Which I think also contribute to normalizing overstudying in Korea and like problem with mental health. But also at the same time, I think it's kind of true that like you have to study that much to go to university. Also, stationery are very high quality and cheap in South Korea. There's also a lot of brands from Japan which is also known for high quality stationery. My personal favorites are Jetstream, which is from Japanese brand, and 동아연필 Anyplus, which is from Korea's brand. And a lot of students find happiness from neat notes and handwriting, since there's not really much anything else they can find happiness from.
I really like Korean like stationery. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm that person who's really into stationery, and Korean ones are the best.
Really, aren't they like Japanese ones? Because we don't really export our stationeries.
True,
I don't. Yeah, I think
see
it's
a lot of,
Japanese.
like, Japanese one from like
Japanese.
outside of Korea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
Japanese.
Japanese.
Okay.
But Korean stationery are really good too, guys.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like pretty notes that is for the studying, and then it usually have like to-do list on the side, and then the other side it has this like time block thingy that you highlight the time you studied, and also a lot of Insta posts called Gongsta, which is an abbreviation of studying Insta, and people post like their notes show that how many hours they studied and like what they did in the day. That's also really popular in Korea.
Like when I was in like first grade in middle school, I also started a studying Instagram account.
Really?
Yeah. So like it was during the winter break, like between 6th grade and middle school. So I had this like determination that I have to like study consistently, and I got so like motivated by the studying Instagram accounts. So I made myself one. But then I lost that account. So.
So they are actually helpful, and they help you stay focused and everything.
Yeah, because they study like 10 hours a day. So when I say that, I'm like, oh, I'm trash. I need to study.
Oh, but there's also like a lot of studying Instagram accounts, so some of them are kind of fake, like
Yeah.
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 Yeah, some of them are definitely fake though.